Today we will finish the semester 3 AEC 3 paper poem Life by Purushottam Lal. Purushottam Lal or P Lal was commonly known as an Indian poet, author, translator, professor and publisher. He was the founder of publishing firm Writers Workshop in Kolkata, established in 1958. The Life is a flower of 5 petals. Love's the first, where a lasting bee settles, quenching thirst. Faith is the second, a drooping treasure, when reckoned in fastidious measure. Hope's a third, brooding hurt, where a blood-spattered bird takes rest. The fourth I cannot see, only a limp hand stretches endlessly for the touch of land. The fifth looked wrapped in that terrible book, terrible man, terribly trapped. So basically, the poet presents life as a flower with 5 petals. Each petal represents a significant aspect of the human experience. The first one is love, described as lusting bee settles. Love is portrayed as an intoxicating desire. Next is faith, depicted as a treasure that can lose value when used too fastidiously. Faith is a complex concept in the poem. The third is hope, described using vivid imagery of blood-splattered bird. Hope is what sustains people in their darkest moments. Next is desire, represented by a limp hand reaching out to touch land. Desire is a perseverance against all odds, even when it seems unattainable. The fifth petal is suffering, wrapped in a terrible book, symbolizing the inescapable presence of suffering in life. The poet's use of the 5 petal flower as a metaphor for life suggests that it is a complex, multifaceted experience. The flower's beauty represents the desirable aspects of life, while the negative elements like desire, faith, and suffering are also integral parts of the human condition. The poem's imagery evokes the sensitive nature of these experiences, drawing on universal symbols like the bee, the bird, and the book. By comparing life to a flower, P. Lal creates a vivid and memorable representation of its beauty, complexity, and inevitability. In the first line is a flower of 5 petals. The line introduces the central metaphor of the poem, likening love to a flower characterized by its 5 petals. The number 5 is significant in nature as many flowers exhibit this petal configuration, particularly among eudicots, which represent a large and evolutionarily successful group of flowering plants. The 5 petal structure may symbolize balance and harmony, suggesting that love, like a flower, is multifaceted and requires various elements to thrive. Love's the first. Here, love is personified as the first element or essence of life, akin to the first bloom of spring. This line suggests that love is foundational, possibly implying that it is one of the primary experiences that enrich human existence. The use of first can also indicate the primacy of love in relationships and emotional experiences, setting the tone for what follows in the poem. Where a lasting bee settles. This line introduces the image of a bee, which symbolizes attraction and desire. The bee's action of settling on the flower represents the pursuit of love and affection. The final line of the stanza, quenching thirst, which can be interpreted both literally and metaphorically. In nature, bees collect nectar from flowers, satisfying their need for sustenance. Metaphorically, this can represent how love fulfills deep emotional needs, quenching a thirst for connection. In the stanza 2, faith is the second. This line suggests that faith holds a secondary but essential position in a broader context, possibly among virtues or essential qualities. It implies that while faith may not be the primary focus, it is still crucial and foundational to understanding deeper truths of or experiences in life. A drooping treasure. Here, the imagery of drooping treasure conveys something, a sense of something precious that is not being fully realized or appreciated. The word drooping suggests decay or weariness, indicating that this treasure, faith, may be neglected or diminished in its vitality. This line evokes feelings of loss or sadness, emphasizing that while faith is valuable as it should, it invites reflection on the state of one's faith and the potential for revitalization. When reckoned, this line introduces the concept of evaluation or assessment. It implies that there is a moment of consideration or judgment regarding the word of faith. It suggests that faith's value might be measured against certain standards or expectations, which could lead to different interpretations of its significance. In fastidious measure adds another layer to the evaluation process introduced in the previous line. It could reflect societal pressures to conform the specific beliefs or practices, or it may indicate an internal struggle. Hope occupies a significant but perhaps incomplete position in the speaker's emotional landscape. The phrase "a third" can imply that hope is one of the three essential elements or aspects of life, possibly alongside love and faith. Brooding heart. The term brooding evokes a sense of deep contemplation or sorrow, suggesting that the speaker's heart is heavy with thoughts and emotions. This imagery creates a contrast with the idea of hope, indicating that while hope exists, it is overshadowed by darker feelings. Where a blood spattered bird. This line introduces a stark and vivid image of a bird marked by a blood symbolizing suffering, loss, or trauma. The bird could represent innocence or freedom that has been marred by violence or hardships. Text rest. The concluding line implies a moment of pause or respite for the blood spattered bird. The rest can be interpreted as both literal and metaphorical, or an acceptance of one's circumstances. It reflects the idea that amidst suffering, there are moments where one can find solace, however fleeting it may be. Resignation. The bird may not be healed, but it is simply taking time to exist in its current state. Reduced to a sense of loss and longing, suggests an elusive entity or concept, perhaps a person, a hope, or a dream that remains just out of reach. The use of "cannot see" evokes a feeling of blindness and ignorance, emphasizing the speaker's inability to grasp what they yearn for. Only a limp hand. The imagery shifts dramatically with the introduction of a limp hand. The hand symbolizes vulnerability and helplessness. Its limpness suggests fatigue and resignation, as if it has been extended in description but lacks the strength or will to grasp anything. The hand becomes a powerful metaphor for unfulfilled desire, a physical representation of the speaker's struggle. It conveys a sense of surrender to faith, as if the speaker has reached out time. This endlessly amplifies the theme of longing. It implies an infinite reach, suggesting that the desire for connection is or fulfillment is boundless. This endlessness can evoke feelings of both hope and despair. While there is an urge to continue reaching out, there is also an acknowledgement that this journey may lead nowhere. The imagery conjures a sense of timelessness, as if the speaker is caught in an eternal moment of yearning. Finally, for the touch of hand introduces a gown experiences. One can almost feel the solid earth beneath their fingers or the warmth of soil against skin. The fifth stanza. This phrase suggests a moment of deep contemplation or realization, as the speaker has scrutinized several aspects of life multiple times, culminating in a profound understanding or insight. The term fifth look implies that there has been several observations or reflections prior to this moment, indicating a journey of thought that has led to a significant conclusion. The use of word wrapped evokes imagery of confinement or protection. It suggests that something is enveloped, possibly in layers that can signify both safety and entrapment. This duality hints at the complexity of the situation being described, where the act of wrapping could serve to shield from harm or restrict movement and freedom. The fifth petal is suffering. Here, the terrible book likely symbolizes a narrative or collection of experiences that are fraught with pain or hardship. The capitalization of book suggests that it holds significant weight, possibly representing life lessons, trauma, or the harsh realities one must confront. The adjective terrible reinforces the idea that the contents are distressing, perhaps filled with sorrowful truths or dark memories. Terrible man introduces a character who embodies negativity or malevolence. This could refer to an individual whose actions have caused suffering or who represents oppressive forces in life. The reputation of terrible emphasizes the severity of this character's impact on others, suggesting he is not merely flawed but fundamentally harmful. Terribly trapped encapsulates a sense of hopelessness and despair. It implies that the subject is caught in a situation from which escape seems impossible, intensifying the emotional weight of the preceding lines. Overall, these lines weave together themes of reflection, confinement, suffering, and despair, creating a vivid portrayal of an individual's confrontation with their past and present struggles.